Okay, so General Counsel, there's a quorum. Is there a quorum?
Yes, ma'am, you do have a quorum.
All righty. Well, good morning, everyone. I'm going to call to order the August 2021 meeting of IHCDA Board of Directors. We are meeting telephonically today pursuant to the current health emergency and Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-3. Since we're meeting telephonically, the procedures will be a little different from those we were used during our regular board meetings. There will be an audio feed for the general public so that members of the public can listen to the meeting, and there will be a video recording posted to IHCDA's website next month. At the time the motions are being made, each board member that makes a motion must state his or her first and last name for the record. I will now take a roll call of the board members to confirm who is present for the record. Start with myself. I apologize. I'm Jody Golden. I'm Chief of Staff for Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, filling in for her today. Mark Pascarella.
Here.
Ryan Locke.
Here.
June Midkiff.
Here.
Andy Place Sr.
Here.
G. Michael Schottmeyer.
Here.
And Tom McGowan.
Here.
Okay. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes from the July 22nd, 2021 board meeting. Board, are there any questions regarding the July 22nd, 2021 minutes? Okay. Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve?
Andy Place, so moved.
A second?
Second.
Okay, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, hearing no one opposed, the motion passes. We'll move on to the second piece of our agenda today, the real estate section. Please welcome Megan Heber to present recommendations regarding the 2020 and 2021 Home Investment Partnerships Program Awards. Megan?
Thank you, board. Good morning, everyone. I'm here this morning to present the recipient recommendations for the 2020-2021 Home Investment Partnership Program Awards. As you know, the HOME program provides avenues of funding for not-for-profit organizations throughout the state of Indiana to build affordable housing, either for rental or home buyer projects. Those home funds go directly to development, but they can also be used to build capacity for our IHCDA certified not-for-profit community housing development organizations, or CHODOs. Those awards come through the form of operating funds. On or before May 10th of this year, IHCDA's real estate staff accepted applications for our annual competitive home round. The round and subsequent deadlines were announced via a red notice on February 8th, and our staff was able to provide some technical assistance to applicants through a virtual webinar that took place on February 24th. IHCDA allowed our CHODO organizations to certify prior to the home round. Organizations that were certified were eligible to apply for some additional funds up to $1.5 million for rental projects. That's $500,000 more than the allocation for non-CHODO applicants. We received 6 CHODO applications, and following our review process, all 6 of those organizations did certify, and then all 6 of them did continue on to apply for home funding this round. In total, we received 15 rental project applications. These applications were reviewed and scored based on our policy requirements, and we were able to follow up with all applicants to clarify any questions that we had and allow them the opportunity to respond. Any application had to meet our minimum score of 68 points in order to be considered for funding. Our staff will be tracking a number of performance indicators following this round, including the total number of rental units, including those that are going to be set aside for special populations, number of certified CHODOs, and a number of development benchmarks. So a quick summary of those applications that we've received. Of those 15, 11 of them are being recommended for home funding. 8 of those 15 also did request development fund loans, and 6 of those 8 are going to be recommended to receive development fund alongside their home award. All 6 of the CHOs who were certified prior to the round did request CHOTO operating supplement funds, and 5 of those 6 applications are going to be recommended for funding. If you'd like to see a visual of all of these applicants and those recommended and where they fall throughout the state, you can check out Exhibit C for a map. All 11 projects recommended for approval for the Award of Home, CHOTO, and Development Fund are going to be shown in Table A below in your award packet. Project summaries can be found in the attached Exhibit A as well. That will list where those projects are located, the number of units, etc. For the benefit of our partners who are joining us on the call today and can only hear us and not see the list of awardees that we are recommending in front of them, I would like to list those projects now. So starting off, we have Community Housing Development Organization of Western Indiana's Project Attica 2021, which is located in Attica. Dale Community Apartments Project Hillcrest and Terrace Rehab in Dale. Hamilton County Area Neighborhood Developments Project Cumberland Cottages in Fishers. Hendricks County Community Development Corporation's Project Lincoln Apartments in Danville. Housing Opportunities Project College Hill Apartments 2 in Valparaiso. La Casa of Goshen's Project 410 East Jefferson and 214 South 8th Street in Elkhart. New Hope Development's 2 projects, Rockport Homes and White River Landing in Rockport and Petersburg. Vision Community's 2 projects, The Landing and River Point in Mount Vernon and Tell City. And Southern Indiana Housing and Community Development Corporation's project, Rushville Haven School in Rushville. The 4 applications that are listed in Table B were denied either because the application didn't meet threshold or they didn't meet our minimum score requirements. Those project summaries can be found in the second exhibit, Exhibit B. All of our real estate staff will be meeting with and following up with those applicants following the round to answer any questions that they have and help them prepare for an application to a future home round. I'll now pause here and take any questions that you may have.
Board, any questions for Megan?
Megan, what does the rental moratorium do for this and any other projects?
Do you mean by that the moratorium on evictions?
Correct.
So we've been working with our projects a little bit as far as giving them some guidance on how to keep their individuals housed. But I do not believe that that moratorium directly interacts with this funding in any way.
Okay, thank you.
Any other
Megan?
questions?
Yeah, one other question. Total units of that were addressed in these awards
The total number,
of units that were part of these awards.
yes, give me one moment. I will pull up our, you
And
can
then while
find an
you're-
Exhibit A.
Yeah, while you were pulling it up, I was just kind of curious on the contribution per unit. I assume people are starting to see some fairly lofty inflationary increases on these.
Yeah, absolutely. That was definitely a concern. We did try to look at the number of requests, the subsidy request per unit. And we did see a slight increase from last year. I believe it was around 90,000 per unit on average last year, and it's up to about 119,000 per unit this year. So that definitely was a concern. We were able to look at some initial requests for subsidy increases on a case-by-case basis. Applicants were able to request that prior to their submission of their application. And so we were able to grant a little bit of wiggle room for our applicants. We also did see an increase in development fund requests. And as far as the total number of units, I believe it was 219, but you can see the full case by case on each project listed
Sure.
in our project summary.
No, that was helpful, Megan. The real interest point was what you responded to as it related to the increase year over year on the cost per unit, because that's obviously something we'll have to gauge moving forward.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions for Megan? Okay, Megan, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Absolutely. I have 3 resolutions for you today, so I'll start off with the first one. Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolutions. Resolved that the board approve home funding in the form of grants in an aggregate amount not to exceed $11,268,350 to the applicants as set forth in Table A and Exhibit A as recommended by staff.
Staff, we have a resolution. Do I hear a motion?
Tom McGowan moves for approval.
Mike Schotmeyer, second.
Okay, we have second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Megan, we'll take your second resolution.
Thank you. Staff resolved that the board approve development fund loans in an aggregate amount not to exceed $1,689,600 to the applicants as set forth in Table A and Exhibit A as recommended by staff.
Or do I have a motion?
Motion for approval?
Tom McGowan will second.
Okay, we have a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Megan, your third resolution.
Thank you. Resolved that the board approve the Home Choto Operating Supplement funding in the form of grants in an aggregate amount not to exceed $250,000 to the applicants as set forth in Table A and Exhibit A as recommended by staff.
Or do we have a motion?
June Midkiff, move to approve.
Any
Do we have a
place?
second? Okay, we have a motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Megan.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll move on to section B in our agenda, the Emergency Rental Assistance Sub-Recipient Award to the City of Indianapolis. Please welcome Marion Bender to present this recommendation regarding the Indianapolis Rental Assistance 1 Award to the City of Indianapolis.
Thank you and good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the board. We're here today to present a sub-recipient award for the City of Indianapolis. We are talking about ERA 1 funding, of which the balance of the state program received $371 million to assist Hoosier renters in need, suffering a financial downturn or impact from COVID, as well as being below 80% AMI and having a risk of homelessness or housing instability. We have received those funds and are actively using them for the balance of the state program. However, we do have 6 separate and individual programs currently running within the state of Indiana, including Elkhart County, Hamilton County, Lake County, Marion County, St. Joseph County, and the city of Fort Wayne. Each of those programs did receive a direct allocation from Treasury and is a direct grantee of the United States Department of Treasury. The city of Indianapolis previously received in excess of $28.8 million and has committed in excess of 65% of those funds by assisting over 7,500 Marion County households. The city of Indianapolis has come to IHCDA with a request for additional funding to make sure that they are able to provide a full 12 months of assistance as permitted by the program to those households that they have already assisted that received only 3 months, and to provide an additional 12-month benefit to an excess of 3,000 households they hope to assist in the future. The city of Indianapolis has come to us with a specific request for additional funding in the amount of $91,454,708, of which $88 million will be used for direct rental assistance for residents of Marion County, and $3,454,708 will be used for admin expenses to further the continuation of the program in Marion County. Staff is recommending at this time the approval of the transfer of funds to Marion County as a sub-grantee of IHCDA in the amount of $91,454,708.
Board, do you have any questions for Rihanna? Okay,
So-
seeing none. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, just quick question. So total percentage of this 371 million that has been allocated to date is?
IHCDA has obligated approximately 19% of its funding at this time,
19, okay. Okay,
and the award to the City of Indianapolis will assist us with committing an additional percentage of obligated funding towards our funding goals, as well as assisting the Marion County renters and residents.
okay. I'm sure the statewide distribution of this is being watched very carefully.
Yes, it is.
Thanks.
And you said we had 3 months prior in the 28 million. Now this allows for 12 months. Is it 100% subsidy of rent?
It is 100% subsidy up to the fair market rental limits established by HUD. If rent for a renter household is in excess of the fair market limit, the renter is responsible for the difference.
Any other questions for Rihanna? Okay, Rihanna, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Thank you. Resolved, the board approve allocating emergency rental assistance 1 funding in the form of a grant to the City of Indianapolis in an amount not to exceed $91,454,708 to provide rental assistance in and administrative funds to Marion County as outlined in Table A above.
Okay, board, we have a resolution. Do I have a motion?
Tom McGowan, move for approval.
Any place second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Rihanna.
Thank you.
All righty, we'll move on to section 3 of our agenda today, community programs. The 2021 CSBG CARES Impact Awards. Please welcome Emily Krauser to present a recommendation regarding the 2021 CSBG CARES Impact Awards.
Right,
Emily.
good morning, everyone. I am here to present about the CSBG CARES Act COVID-19 impact grants. I wanted to start by just providing a little bit of background on the CSBG funding, since I know we are not in front of you as often as others at IHCDA. So community service block grant funding is, we are required to pass through 90% of that directly to designated agencies, the community action agencies. Of the remaining 10%, 5% can go to IHCDA for administrative expenses, and another 5% is to be used for discretionary purposes. Those discretionary purposes are defined as providing technical assistance and training and coordination amongst those community action subgrantees, studying the effectiveness of the programs that are being run as part of that network, and then further alleviating the causes and conditions of poverty in Indiana. This award that we're talking about today comes from that discretionary portion of the CSBG CARES Act. And so CSBG is specifically to alleviate the causes and conditions of poverty. The CARES Act says that we must prevent, prepare, or respond to the effects of COVID-19 pandemic. And so those two things combined are what created the kind of the impetus for this impact grant. As we've been working with our network of community action agencies, normally we spend our discretionary towards those ends that I talked about earlier, specifically within that network. But because of the pandemic, that network is taking a lot of the additional funding that's coming into communities right now. They're helping with all of the extra programs and projects that IHCDA is putting out, as well as some that they're running with their local United Ways and community foundations. And so we heard from them that they had a lot coming in and a lot going on. And so we decided for the first time that I'm aware of to open this competitive award to all nonprofits that serve the state of Indiana and not just the network of community action agencies. But community action agencies were encouraged to apply, and we did have one apply. All right, the other thing that's important to know about this, we put this out, an application for this out in early May, and did a call with potential applicants to talk through the process. And then respondents had about a month and a half to 2 months to respond to us. Respondents were asked to choose one of 9 specific outcomes that were listed in that application. Those 9 outcomes were pulled from the national performance indicators for the CSBG grant. And they were the 9 that most closely related to the things that we were seeing in research were highly affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. And so we identified the outcomes and said, if you're able to meet one of those in the project timeline, please apply for this funding. All right. We had the call for potential applicants to write us in, and we also took written questions and responded to those and posted those publicly on our website. IHCDA set aside $500,000 for this to be awarded to 5 agencies. The idea was to have relatively large dollar amounts, so $100,000 each, so that they could really make an impact on that outcome. We knew that we wouldn't show impacts on some of those outcomes within the 1-year period that we had if we weren't able to put some heft behind these awards. The intention was to give out 5 of these awards. We received 21 applications. The applications were reviewed by 5 members of IHCDA staff, the community programs team. We used a scoring rubric. Each application was scored twice. The average of those scores are available in Exhibit A. And then anybody who scored above the threshold, we did have all members of the team review those so that we could have a positive discussion about which ones we were planning to award. Any agencies that were above 80 over 100, like I said, that was our threshold, and they were reviewed by the full team. So upon review, 6 applications rose to the top. They scored well, and the team had very few reservations about their ability to meet the intended outcome in the time period required. Because 6 of them rose to the top, we went back into our budgets and to see if it was possible to fund all 6. We found some efficiencies in our admin. So the 5% that was IHCDA's admin, we were able to find some efficiencies in that. And therefore we are requesting, we are recommending to you the 6 listed in the board memo instead of the 5 initially planned. We also wanted to note that the applications that are in that board memo, they do cover all 4 of the family level outcomes that we listed in the application, as well as 2 of the community level outcomes, and they do not overlap each other. So we got a pretty wide swath of different outcomes that folks are shooting towards. And we also looked a little bit at the spread of where we got within the state. There is a map, I believe that's Exhibit B, that shows where those recommended agencies are operating. All right, with that, I'm happy to take any questions before I provide the resolution.
Board, any questions for Emily?
That was nice. You were able to sneak in that 6th application.
We tried.
Yeah.
Okay, Emily, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Great. Resolved that the board approve awarding 2021 CARES Act CSBG funds in aggregate amount not to exceed $599,809.40 to the applicants as set forth in Table A to administer agency impact grant projects for the term beginning September 1, 2021 and ending August 31, 2022 as recommended by staff.
Okay, board, we have a resolution. Do we have a
Sorry.
motion?
I jumped the gun. I apologize. Tom McGowan will move for approval.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Jake. Can I Did Emily cite the organization so those that are listening in and the public can know which organizations were awarded?
I did not, but I'd be happy to.
Emily? Okay, yeah, please, Emily, can you share with the public the 6 organizations and the amount and their service area that they'll be covering? Just so that the public that's listening in, and thanks for their partnerships, are aware.
Good call. So we have Hoosier Uplands Economic Development Corporation. They serve the service area of Lorain, Martin, Orange, and Washington counties. They are all at $100,000, but for foster success, which is just slightly under. The next one is NeighborLink Indianapolis Foundation Incorporated. That serves Marion County. We have Foster Success, which serves statewide. The YWCA of Northeast Indiana serves Allen, DeKalb, Huntington, Noble, Wells, and Whitley counties. Fathers and Families Resource Research Center serves Marion County. And then the Indiana Association for Community Economic Development, also known as Prosperity Indiana, which also serves statewide.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Emily. Okay, we'll move on to the 4th section of our agenda today, asset preservation. Under that, letter A is the Indiana Homeowner Assistance Fund RFP final selection. So please welcome Chris Nevels to present a recommendation regarding the Indiana Homeowner Assistance Fund RFP final selection. Chris?
Good morning, board. My name is Chris Nevels. I'm the Director of Asset Preservation, and I am here to discuss IHCDA's recommendation for a vendor to administer its Homeowner Assistance Fund program. First, I would like to thank a few people. As Jake mentioned a couple of months ago at a board meeting, I am new in this position. So I did want to thank everyone on the existing asset preservation team. They have helped me get up and running and, showed me where the files are on the shared drive. And most importantly, they kept our existing programs on track while I've been focusing a lot on this program. And also, I would like to thank Jeff Vinoy, who assisted us with doing a lot of research and looking into data that was used in our program design for a needs and data assessment that we put together. He made a lot of cool graphs and charts and maps that hopefully you'll all be able to see soon. So with that, I will get into the background of HAF real quick. So on April 14th, 2021, Treasury released funding allocations and guidance for the Homeowner Assistance Fund, or HAF, that was established as part of the American Rescue Plan Act. HAF was established to mitigate financial hardships associated with the pandemic by providing funds for the purpose of preventing homeowner delinquencies, defaults, foreclosures, loss of utilities for homeowners experiencing financial hardships that occurred after January 21st, 2020. As part of this program, Indiana was allocated approximately $167 million. And our preference was to select a vendor through the request proposals process to handle all or most of the required program administration. So to talk a little bit about the process for the RFP, on June 7th, we did release that RFP to the public, requesting proposals for the program administration. Responses were due on or before June 21st. On June 18th, IHCDA staff posted a FAQ that addressed a number of questions we had received since the RFP was posted on June 18th. And as you may remember, on June 24th, the IHCDA Board of Directors approved the initial Indiana HAF draft policy. So IHCDA did receive a total of 13 responses. You can see a list of all the respondents in Table A in your board packet. Only responses that were received before 5 p.m. Eastern on June 21st were accepted, and each qualifying response was reviewed and ranked based on the RFP requirements. So after our initial review, IHCDA narrowed the field down to 4 finalists. We continued to engage in a thorough discussion and review process at that point. IHCDA did meet with each finalist to discuss their proposals, demo their software, and ask them questions. We also scored each of those finalists on a rubric that we had created that measured metrics focused on successful program administration. Some of those metrics included capacity, experience, accessibility, and quality control. And those were all things that were emphasized by Treasury in their HAF guidance that they had released. Additionally, we conducted an extensive analysis of each finalist's budget to And, you know, we calculated multiple budget scenarios so that the budgets were also normalized so that we could compare them to one another. So after going through that process, we took those final 4 finalists and reduced them to narrowed the field down to two final finalists. And so at that point, we contacted the references that each of the finalists had provided, and also met with each team for one final discussion and for one final opportunity to ask them questions, and also for them to ask us questions. After we completed this, we did make our final selection, which you can see in Table A. Before I get to that, I did want to point out a couple of things. IHCDA will be tracking a number of metrics for this program. That was one of the things that was most important to us, was tracking those types of metrics. There were 3 that we wanted to highlight that had been specifically mentioned by Treasury in the guidance. And so those include, we will be tracking the number of socially disadvantaged homeowners that we serve. And as defined by Treasury, a socially disadvantaged individual is someone whose ability to purchase or own a home has been impaired due to diminished access to credit on reasonable terms as compared to others in similar circumstances. We'll also be tracking the number of homeowners served having incomes equal to or less than 100% of the area median income. And finally, we'll be tracking the number of homeowners assisted in areas of high need as determined by the data and needs analysis that we conducted that I mentioned earlier. That was part of our program design process. So with that, I will go to our recommendation. The staff, IHCDA staff does recommend the selection of Beam, Longest, and Neff Emergency Management as the vendor for IHCDA's Homeowner Assistance Fund. And with that, I will pause for any questions that the board may have.
Board, any questions for Chris? Okay, seeing none. Chris, I think we're ready for your resolution.
All right. So staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolved that the board approve the Asset Preservation Department's recommendation to select Beam, Longest, and Neff as IHCDA's vendor for the Homeowner Assistance Fund as recommended by staff.
Okay, board, we have a resolution. Do I have a motion?
A motion for approval.
Tom McGowan, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
We will move on to the 5th section of our agenda today, the Finance Department. Please welcome Rich Harcourt to present a recommendation regarding the single-family mortgage revenue bonds 2021 Series C. Rich?
Good morning, board. I'm excited to be here today. This is a resolution that will allow us to once again access the capital markets to borrow money to support our single-family bond resolution, which predominantly serves first-time home buyers. First time in a long time that we've had 3 issues in 1 year. Typically, you've seen us do 2 a year for the past several years, and that's reflective of the really hot residential market that we all get to see and read about on a daily basis. This request is to allow us to issue up to $150 million of either taxable or tax-exempt revenue bonds to be used for either new money purchases, down payment assistance, or refunding of some existing bonds if that appears to be economically feasible. I suspect the issue will probably be sized somewhere in the area of 75 million of new money, and then we'll look at the refunding opportunities. We'll continue to work with the team that we have in place and we've used for a long time, which includes Ice Miller's Bond Counsel, CFX is our advisor, and RBC Capital Markets will be our bankers taking us to market this time. Staff recommends the board approve the issuance of the 2021 Series C bonds and related bond documents and disclosure documents as in the substantially final form presented at this meeting. I'd be glad to take questions.
Any questions for Rich?
This is Mark Pascal from the Indiana Finance Authority. I'll just state that, as usual, Rich had reached out to me to discuss it. We have reviewed and discussed it, and the IFA, of course, has no issues. And just like to say that we're obviously pretty excited about what's going on in that mortgage program. And from talking with Rich, it seems like it's really providing a big value add, and it's extremely competitive in the marketplace. So it's a good product out there, and it's good that we're going to continue to support it.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Rich? Okay, Rich, I think we're ready for your resolution.
Staff respectfully requests the board approve the following resolution. Resolve that the board approve the issuance of the 2021 Series C bonds and the related bond documents and disclosure documents as substantially final in the form presented, and authorize any authorized officer to execute the same as recommended by staff. Thank you.
Okay. Staff, we have a resolution.
June Midkiff, move to approve.
Mark Pascal, second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Thank you, Rich.
Thank you, board.
Next, we'll move on to our executive update. Please welcome Executive Director Jacob Sight.
Good morning, board. And I was going to make my update a little bit short this month. I wanted to focus on the Indiana Emergency Rental Assistance Program, and I want to thank the board for their support on the allocation award today to Marion County, and allowing us the opportunity to partner with Marion County to enhance their existing program. You know, their program was providing 3 months of assistance, and really that wasn't enough to ensure housing stability for many renters in Marion County. So these dollars will ensure that they can provide up to 12 months, which it aligns with what our program is providing, up to 12 months of rental assistance. So thank you for that. And renters in Marion County are glad as well in this partnership that we have. Obviously, Marion County is one of the largest counties that have predominant renters, and is also one of the larger counties in the country that has to face evictions, in terms of the percentage of evictions that happen is very prevalent here in the county. So it's a good partnership. It's one we've worked with all the municipalities in since December of last year on this program, and sharing best practices and opening lines of communication. And we've always been had a good relationship with the other counties like Elkhart, St. Joseph, Hamilton County, and the city of Fort Wayne as well. And in fact, actually, we are in conversations with them on potentially providing them some additional funding as well, coming at another upcoming board meeting, where we would like to make a recommendation to some of the other counties that have obligated their dollars as well. So those conversations are happening and continuing to happen. So I wanted to update you on that. The other thing I wanted to update you on is on August 2nd, we began posting a weekly report, progress report on our program, and we broke it down by county, because I think that's important to actually look at the number of households that are receiving assistance by county. And obviously we subtotaled it up for the entire state, but that report has been provided, and we're doing it every Monday. A report will go out, and you can see the progress here. The program has been a little bit slow to get going, slower than any of us would have liked. Some of that it has to do with the complexities of the program. You know, we're not just running a rental assistance program, we're also doing utility assistance, and we're doing multiple different utilities. We're providing utility assistance to bring renters current, from electric to gas. Some may use propane. And so also we provide assistance on water and wastewater, trash, and internet. So as you can see, one household may receive payments, potentially up to 7-8 payments for one household. And then we can continue to make those payments ongoing up to 12 months, like I said. So on the rental side. So unfortunately, the program has been a little bit slow, but a lot of that does because this is a brand new program. We have never done anything like this in our state. So standing up a program like this was a little bit more challenging than I think any of us expected. But also I'm proud that we were able to offer a program that embraces all of the activities that are eligible to support our renters and ensuring that they have housing stability. That's one of the things I'm just really proud of, and the feedback that we've received from our partners across the state and helping us and advocating to challenge us to really to do the best we can to provide as much assistance as we could to ensure this housing stability. So, but that's caused some complexities, but the team at IHCDA that have dedicated themselves 24/7. I mean, I'll be honest, everyone here at this agency who is touching this program really is working around the clock to ensure that we can move these payments as quickly as we can and to assist renters. But it's a big job. And so we've continued to make changes. We have a culture of continuous improvement, and we recognize there's a lot of ways in which we can improve the program, and we're doing that. As I've shared with you, those progress reports on August 2nd, we had assisted about 5,600 renters. As of Monday of this week, the report went out, and we're at about 7,600 now. So of renters that we've assisted. The amount of obligation, the 1st of August, we were at 47 million. As of Monday, we're just over 64 million in terms of where we are with obligations. All of these are important, not just because we want to help assist renters, but we also, Treasury does have a benchmark for us that we're striving to hit, and we need to be at obligation at 65% by September 30th. That's our benchmark, and I think that's what we're striving to get to. As of Monday, we're at about almost 18% of our funds being obligated. Now, with today's award to the City of Indianapolis, and we've been working closely with them, we believe that we'll be able to probably obligate quickly within the next 2 weeks, an additional 15% with the city's funds. And then obviously we're continuing to obligate every day with our program. So as we look at September 30th, I'm confident that we're going to get really, really close to that 65% based on the volume that we're currently and the pace that we're currently at. It is a lot of work. It's not easy in any means, but I think that's our goal, and we're striving to get there as quickly as we can. So I did want to share that with you, this piece of information on the rental assistance program and where we are and where we're going. So I'm happy to take any questions if the board has any for me on this.
Jake, only comment I have is it's obviously a huge lift for your organization. So congratulations to everybody being part of this kind of once in a century scenario that all of you are facing. So it's great we're able to help people all over the state.
Okay.
Any other comments or
Thanks,
questions?
Tom.
Jake, are these funds applied retroactively to past due rent, utility bills, so on and so forth? Or is it prospective?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So we can either go back 12 months to April 2020, or we can go forward, or a combination of both. And that's on the rent, but the most we can do is 12 months. So it can be a combination of backward or forward facing rent. And we get those dollars, the amounts that are past due, working with the landlord to get their general ledger so we know exactly what the amount is that's past due. Plus, they provide us with their lease agreement, so we know what that monthly lease is. So there's that. On the utilities, we do bring them current on their past due amount. We don't pay forward, unlike the rent where we can pay forward. We don't do that with utilities. We have to work closely with the utility companies. And as you know, in Indiana, a lot of the water or wastewater are owned by municipalities. So there's thousands of municipalities who have water and wastewater programs. And so we have to work with each one of them to verify and to get their information so that we can make those payments and bring their clients current. So that is a tremendous amount of a lot of work that goes in to make just one payment. As we get these municipalities set up it becomes easier on us. And that's the reason why I think we're seeing quicker turnaround times now, because we have, I think we got over 12,000 vendors set up now, but you have to get them set up. And so, and some of our municipalities are very small, and they can't make certain decisions until they have a town council meeting. So, you know, you have to wait for some of those things to happen. So, but now as we continue to bring those utility companies on board and get them used to the process that we use in terms of verifying the amount of past due, certainly things are getting smoother and allows us to do a better job in terms of our turnaround on processing those funds.
Does the application for these funds have to be initiated by the tenant, or are we going to landlords and utility companies and having them essentially be the applicant?
The landlord certainly can start an application on behalf of their resident. Ultimately, the resident has to certify that the information is accurate and current. Obviously, there are certain items in the application that only the resident can verify, like hardship. And so certainly we have landlords across our state. And in fact, I know we have one landlord who has worked on 70 applications and helping their residents prepare all of those, and then just getting the resident to, to sign off on it. So it's all done electronically. So yeah, we definitely allow landlords are very active actually in starting a lot of these applications on behalf of their residents, and then bringing their residents into the property management office and to help them with finalizing the application. So definitely that is it. I will mention one other thing, and this kind of getting in the weeds, but we have been working with some property managers to improve our application. We are planning to shift to a new software system on here in the next 45 days or so, maybe less. So that and so we want that application to be more landlord friendly and resident tenant friendly. So we've had some discussions on helping us with thinking through what does that look like, and how do we improve that process from an application standpoint, so it's a lot easier and less burdensome. So that is one thing that's right now we're heavily working on to improve the online application.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jake? Comments? Okay, thank you, Jake.
Thank you.
All right, is there any other business to come before the board today? Okay, hearing no other business, then this meeting is adjourned, and it is 10:48 a.m. Thank you, board.